Stadiums are the landmarks on the landscape of professional football. They are graveyards for some teams, fortresses for others. They appear forbidding and fraught with peril for teams on the road through a season. Robert Louis Stevenson once said that it is better to travel in hope than to arrive. Teams arrive in different fashion. Losers arrive storm-tossed. Winners arrive star-kissed. For the best teams, arrival marks the beginning rather than the end, for they realize that there is only one thing to be in the NFL, and that is champion of it. Most teams' claim to number one lasts only a game. For others, possibly a season. However, the greatest teams survive the test of time and possess special qualities. One embodied the essence of the word team. Another displayed true grit that made them America's team. One reached out and touched perfection. Another endured for all reasons and all seasons.
ESPN, the network that brings you the most exciting sports on television, can now take you to the most exciting sports events in America with our Watch and Win Sweepstakes of Champions.
What do you win, Jim?
A trip for two to either the Indy 500, World Series, Super Bowl 17, Kentucky Derby, or the U.S. Open Tennis Finals Winner's Choice.
Wow!
The grand prize winner and his or her guest get an expense-paid trip to the championship event of their choice, including round-trip airfare, accommodations, and $500 in expense money. And there's more.
More?
Our Sweepstakes of Champions grand prize winner gets a 1983 Pontiac Trans Am.
Yeah!
Wait, there's even more. More Trans Ams, 4 more for first prize winners. And our 4 second prize winners get Hitachi color TVs. For our 200 third prize winners, we have Timex Quartz chronograph watches. And our 404th prize winners get sports action posters by famed sports artist Leroy Neiman.
Okay.
Even if you've never entered a sweepstakes before, you ought to enter this one, because with over 600 prizes, we're giving you plenty of chances to win.
How do you play?
Well, there are 4 contests. For each contest, we'll give you a contest number and 2 code words on ESPN every evening between 7 and 8:30 Eastern Time and on every sports center. Send the contest number, both code words, and your name and address to this address: ESPN Sweepstakes, Box 800, Lowell, Indiana, 46356, and you are in. Every 2 weeks through November, December, there's a new contest, 2 new code words, and new chances to win. And all valid entries in every contest are eligible for the grand prize. But you can't win if you don't enter. So watch ESPN and get those code words.
We want in, Jim.
ESPN employees aren't eligible.
As professional football evolves into the 1980s, the elements that make the game sparkle today can be traced to Los Angeles, California, over 30 years ago, where the modern pro offense was born. Offensively, the Los Angeles Rams were decades ahead of their time, and in 1950 were the most explosive team in the history of the sport. With quarterbacks Bob Waterfield and Norm Van Brocklin throwing to a bounty of all-pro receivers, the Rams presented a carnival of big play, a merry-go-round offense with a simple philosophy. To hell with how many points the opposition scores, we'll just score more. In one season, the Rams scored 466 points, 39 a game, a pinnacle unmatched by any NFL team before or since. Ironically, the Rams did not win the league title in 1950. That distinction belonged to a group of upstarts, the Cleveland Browns, who joined the NFL and won the championship in their first year of play. Their creator, Paul Brown, was a master innovator. The fabric of pro football was altered by this man and his team. From sending in plays from the sideline to the invention of the face mask, it was Brown's intention that everything his team did would be ahead of its time, and that meant being the best. Quarterback Otto Graham and a thundering fullback named Marion Motley fueled a string of 10 consecutive division or league titles. The Browns dominated much of the 1950s, then gave way to a team that had been losing as much as the Browns had won. A small town in Wisconsin was turned into the capital of football excellence by the Green Bay Packers. While there was talk of new formations, momentum, and mystique, the Packers went back to basics and proved the game was still one of blocking and tackling. They were a mix of old men reborn and golden boys with promise, blended by Vince Lombardi, who demanded total dedication from his team and got it. The Packer offense was not explosive. Rather, it was a power game, not built on deception, but on precise, devastating execution of a handful of plays. From the simple screen pass to the sweep to the trap play, their charge was as unified as Patton's Third Army. The Packers preferred the feel of a power sweep to the arc of a long pass, but Green Bay pass plays were carried through with the same lean and lethal style. Lombardi emphasized simplicity on defense as well. It was a basic one-on-one, me against you approach. There were old-fashioned virtues stamped all over Packer teams: hard work, second effort, loyalty, and love. In 7 years, those virtues carried the Packers to 5 NFL championships and wins in the first 2 Super Bowls. The Packer experience was unique, extolled by Jerry Kramer, number 64.
Be all you can be. We were everything we could possibly be. We gave everything we had. We didn't save anything. There weren't any tomorrows for us. It was a great personal pride, a great emotional feeling. You never are sure whether winning breeds that warmth or that warmth breeds winning, but you never have one without the other.
The roots of the Packers' psyche were exposed to the limit in the 1967 championship game, in a survival test that called for guts and desire. The Packers marched a final 67 yards to doomsday's doorstep.
Bart Starr coming over to check with Coach Vince Lombardi. 20 seconds remaining in this football game. The Packers inches away from something that has never before happened in pro football history. A 3rd straight NFL championship. The Packers come out of the huddle.
As the twilight deepened and the cold intensified, the Packers were down to one final play.
Starr begins the count. Takes the snap. He's got the quarterback sneak, and he's into the touchdown, and the Packers are out in front. And the Green Bay Packers are going to be NFL champions for the third straight year.
Had the Packers won the game easily, they would have been remembered as the team of the 60s. But winning the way they did, they became a team for the ages.
Making it takes talent, but making it to the Hall of Fame takes great talent. Hi, I'm Tom Seaver for the Sporting News, and the complete stats of every man who made it into baseball's Hall of Fame are here in the Hall of Fame Fact Book. Hundreds of pages of pictures and awards and honors, records and achievements of the greatest of the greats. And it's yours free when you subscribe to the Sporting News, the Sports Bible. You know, I've been reading the Sporting News since I was a kid. And as a matter of fact, the fans and the athletes themselves have been reading the Sporting News since 1886. It's the magazine that gives me the no-nonsense details of all Major League sports and college action. The ins and the outs and the behind-the-scenes stories of the big four action sports, baseball, football, basketball, and hockey, every single week of the year. Plus highlights in boxing, tennis, soccer, horse racing, and all the rest. On the road, as much as athletes are, we really appreciate the fact that major sports stories are covered by more than 40 feature writers around the country, reporting on the scene where the action is. To love sports is to love the Sporting News, the Sports Bible. Why don't you subscribe today, and here's a friend to tell you how.
You get the Sporting News at the special trial rate of just 45 cents an issue, 29 issues for $12.99. That's a savings of more than $30 off the $1.50 single copy price, and a savings of over $7 off the regular subscription price. To subscribe to the Sporting News, just call this toll-free number, 1-800-453-4000. That's 1-800-453-4000. You pay only $12.99 for 29 issues. And the Hall of Fame Fact Book with hundreds of pages of pictures, awards and honors, records and achievements of the greatest of the greats is yours free with your paid subscription. Call now, 1-800-453-4000. That's 1-800-453-4000.
In an era where teams ascend and comets, the Oakland Raiders have remained a fixed star. 17 straight winning seasons, 9 division titles, 2 Super Bowl championships. From top to bottom, managing general partner Al Davis designed the blueprint for the organization. While Davis patterned Raider uniforms after the Army football team, the Black Knights of the Hudson, he shaped their image after Blackbeard the Pirate. Their players were cut from a different cloth, renegades with faces only a mother could love. The Raiders cultivated, then reveled in their ominous image.
We were the black colors, the skull and the crossbones, and you know, we didn't represent everything that was good, so we probably led the league in boos, you know, B-O-O, boo, because everywhere we'd go, you know, we'd go on the road, and but it was a means of acceptance. The worst thing for your football team to go out on the field would be to complete silence. It's like there's no one there, and we kind of did encourage that, and the players kind of like, you know, that, you know, everyone's against us, you know, we have to band together.
Nowhere was this thinking more evident or more persuasive than on defense, where the motto was, might makes right. The mauling, brawling Raider defense has traditionally been one of the most intimidating, most penalized, and most effective units in the game. When the Raiders sense fear, anxiety, or weakness, they go for the throat. beneath this unwavering, ferocious image was a compelling, flexible philosophy.
This is a goal-oriented organization, and our goal is to win, to be on top, to maintain our level of excellence, so that everything we do has singleness of purpose. If it's going to interfere with our winning, we're going to make a change, so that we're not slaves to routine. Al Davis has a saying that I think a lot of us have picked up. We don't say never, we don't say always. To us, it's much more important to be right at the moment than it is to be consistent.
Al Davis dresses in the past, but thinks in the future. He is called the genius, and his signature is written on every offensive play. In the deeply rutted path of conventional football, he paved some artfully new directions. Davis disdained possession football for an all-out assault on the end zone. Every play was designed to reach the scoreboard. The idea was to keep the defense off balance by always pushing forward, hurrying the ball downfield. The Raiders became the second highest scoring team over the last 20 years by developing an offense that made the long pass as reliable a weapon as the off-tackle play. Like a New York Yankee emblazoned in pinstripes, the wearer of silver and black was a special person. In their search for these special players, the Raiders operated as lone wolves, ignoring talent pools and scouting combines. Men like Fred Biletnikoff, number 25, fit hand in glove with their unique system.
When we bring people in here, we're looking for people who will fit the philosophy of football that we believe in. For instance, when LaMonica was here, he was known as the Mad Bomber. We didn't throw long because we had LaMonica. We got LaMonica because we wanted to throw long.
While most teams employed the bomb only as a desperate measure, the Raiders used it as a matter of routine. They were the first team to extensively and effectively utilize setbacks to complement receivers in long-distance patterns. Oakland knew well that linebackers were ill-equipped to cover running backs in the open field. The position of tight end, once the province of lumbering linemen, was streamlined by the Raiders into one of grace and speed. Oakland also tinkered with old notions about offensive linemen and came up with a lineup of giants. Many chuckled when they transformed a huge college All-American tackle named Gene Upshaw into a guard. As usual, the last laugh came from the Raiders. The Raider running game effectively counterpointed their ambitious passing philosophy. Here a succession of rough and tumble backs, beginning with number 44, Marv Hubbard, proved not to be trifled with. No fancy feints and jabs here, just heavyweight right hands under the heart. The Raiders have been the winningest team over the past 20 years. Testament that their body of football philosophy remains effectively alive.
The Burks are a farming family in California's raisin land. And when they sit down to breakfast, they have Kellogg's Raisin Bran. See, the Burks have a saying known by every raisin growing clan.
The more plump, juicy raisins, the better the Raisin Bran.
And there's 2 heaping scoops of raisins in every package of Kellogg's Raisin Bran cereal. No other Raisin Bran gives you more.
Just ask the Holbrook family about those 2 scoops of raisins in Kellogg's Raisin Bran.
Can you do this, and this? Then you've got the skills it takes to put in the kitchen you've always dreamed of, to build a deck for outdoor fun, even expand your home with extra living space. Yes, with your basic skills, Time Life Books Home Repair and Improvement Series can show you how to tackle projects all around your home with confidence. Minor repairs and major renovations. You can do it yourself and save hundreds, even thousands of dollars. There's no first-time fumbling when Home Repair and Improvement shows you how. How to install a new electrical outlet. How to open up a wall and put in a window. Try out the introductory volume, Basic Wiring, for 15 days free. You can send it back or keep it and pay $9.95 plus shipping and handling. Then you'll receive other volumes, one at a time, approximately every other month. Same free examination. Keep the ones you want, cancel anytime. You also get valuable tips on tools in the Home Toolkit booklet that comes free with your first volume. Fixing up your home is as easy as this, and this with Time Life Books Home Repair and Improvement.
Prove it for yourself. Just get the first book.
To order your first book for a 15-day examination, just phone toll-free 1-800-228-5005. That's 1-800-228-5005. Or write Home Repair, 815 Time and Life Building, Chicago. That toll-free number again, 1-800-228-5005.
The Raiders were a team of character and characters, and despite their reputation as an ill wind, there were some breezy, free spirits. Even Jaunty John Madden, who won 100 games in 10 years, used some bizarre methods.
Now, I used to say something before a game, every game before we go out, and sometimes even at halftime before we go out, and I had no idea what it meant, but I heard it someplace, and it sounded like a pretty good idea. The last thing I'd say was, don't worry about the horse being blind, just load the wagon. Then let's go. I have no idea what it meant, but, you know, some guys kind of got excited when I said it.
Oakland trails 20-14. 10 seconds left. The crowd takes up a chant of defense. Robisky and Banaszak are the backs. Slot right, Branch inside. Bradshaw, Stabler back. Here comes the rush. He sidesteps. Can he throw? He can't. The ball flipped forward is loose. A wild scramble. 2 seconds on the clock. Casper grabbing the ball. It is ruled a fumble. Casper has recovered in the end zone. The Oakland Raiders have scored on the most zany, unbelievable, absolutely impossible dream of a play.
The play was aptly called the Holy Roller, another chapter in Raider folklore. They were the unquestioned kings of the improbable, impossible victory. Fantastic finishes and storybook endings lent almost a mythic quality to the team.
It's not real. 52,000 people minus a few lonely Raider fans are stunned. A man would be a fool who ever tried and write a drama and make you believe it. This one will be relived forever.
That's one thing that we'd always taken great pride in, that when we were behind and we had to move the ball and we had to get something done, that we'd do it. When you get in a pressure situation, there's no one that you'd rather have involved in that play than Kenny Stabler. He has the uncanny knack of putting a ball between people and between hands and just being able to slip things in there from all different angles, and that's exactly what he did.
Kenny the Snake Stabler possessed a Midas touch, and the Oakland Raiders found a pot of gold under his rainbows. The greatness of Stabler was not measured by statistics, though they were impressive. It was gauged by his heroics in the clutch. Nowhere was this trait more evident than on December 21st, 1974, when a playoff victory appeared certain for Don Shula's Dolphins.
Here he is, fading, looking. He's under the gun. He's caught, he throws. It is.
Even though it was called the greatest game ever played, it was not until 3 years later that the Raiders were considered a great team.
From the Rose Bowl Stadium in Pasadena, California, it is Super Bowl 11. This is Bill King with a welcome.
There are no substitutes for a world's championship. The only thing the Raiders had never won.
Here in the canyon at Arroyo Seco.
This was their albatross, the blot on their spotless record. But even this flew away and was erased dramatically in Super Bowl 11 against the Minnesota Vikings.
The Raiders closing in on the Super Bowl championship.
Francis back to pass. Throw the sideliner. Picked off. It's going to be a touchdown. Willie Brown. 45-40, 35-30, 25-20. Old man Willie. He's going all the way.
Victory elevated both the Oakland Raiders and John Madden to pro football's most exalted station. 3 years later, another World Championship with a new coach and new stars confirmed the Oakland Raiders as one of the best teams ever.
Today on Great Teams, Great Years, we'll be seeing